First Contact's Deception. High Admiral Kilara of the Kralaxian Empire stood on the bridge of the Dominion's Fist, her flagship's holographic displays painting her scaled skin in shifting patterns of blue and green. The massive vessel, nearly the size of a small moon, hung in the darkness at the edge of an unremarkable solar system. Yet something about this system had caught the Empire's attention. Primitive radio signals, reaching out into space like a child's first words. Status report. Kilara commanded, her secondary eyes scanning tactical readouts, while her primary set remained fixed on the holographic representation of the third planet. The civilization appears to be pre-FTL, High Admiral, her science officer reported. They've barely reached their own moon. Primitive chemical rockets, widespread use of fossil fuels, and their most advanced weapons appear to be nuclear fission devices. Population approximately 8 billion. Kilara's mouth tentacles curled in amusement. Another primitive species ripe for incorporation into the Empire. The Kralaxians had done this hundreds of times before. Find a developing civilization, demonstrate overwhelming technological superiority, and offer them a choice between submission or annihilation. It was practically routine. Prepare the standard First Contact package, she ordered. Let's show them what real power looks like. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that officially didn't exist, General Sarah Chen watched the alien vessel's arrival on quantum-entangled displays that shouldn't have been possible according to publicly available physics. She allowed herself a small smile as she read the incoming analysis of the Kralaxian ship. They took the bait, she said softly. All those carefully leaked radio transmissions, the deliberately visible satellites, even those classified military bases, we made sure their scouts would find. She turned to her staff, each handpicked from every nation on Earth. Initiate Operation False Front. Let's give our visitors exactly what they're expecting to see. Across the globe, humanity's real technology remained hidden behind quantum camouflage fields and dimensional pocket spaces, the fruit of a century of secret development, ever since the first alien probe had been captured in 1947. They had learned from that probe that humanity wasn't alone, and that the galaxy was not a friendly place, but rather than panic or rush to catch up. Earth's leaders had made an unprecedented decision: to hide their true progress, to advance in secret, to prepare for the day when someone would come to conquer them. The Kralaxian ship launched its impressive display of power, a formation of fighters conducting supersonic maneuvers over major cities, holographic projections of their High Admiral appearing in the skies to demand Earth's surrender. They expected panic, chaos, fear. Instead, they got a carefully choreographed performance. World leaders appeared to argue and panic. Military forces made futile attempts to shoot down the alien fighters with primitive missiles. News networks broadcast scenes of chaos and confusion. And through it all, hidden sensors recorded every detail of Kralaxian technology, analyzing its strengths and, more importantly, its weaknesses. High Admiral Kilara watched with satisfaction as Earth's nations began to fracture under pressure, just as expected. Send in the first wave, she ordered. A simple show of force. Destroy one of their larger military bases. The Kralaxian strike force descended through the atmosphere, weapons charge. They never noticed the quantum field scanners mapping their every system, or the dimensional pocket spaces opening just long enough to allow Earth's real defensive systems to get targeting solutions. In her underwater command center, General Chen watched the alien ships approach their target, a carefully constructed fake base in the Nevada desert, populated by holographic personnel and stocked with deliberately primitive technology. Let them have their moment, she ordered. Then signal the Arcturus fleet. It's time to show them what humanity can really do. As the Kralaxian weapons fired on the empty base, creating a satisfyingly large explosion, High Admiral Kilara allowed herself to relax. Everything was proceeding according to plan. These humans would submit, just like all the others. She had no idea she was about to learn just how wrong first impressions could be. Operation Shadow Fleet. High Admiral Kilara was preparing to deliver her victory speech when the first anomaly appeared on her sensors. A slight distortion in space, barely noticeable, near Jupiter's orbit. Her tactical officer dismissed it as a sensor ghost, a common occurrence in systems with large gas giants. Then another appeared near Mars, and another in Earth's orbit. And suddenly, everywhere her sensors looked, space itself seemed to be tearing open. High Admiral. Her tactical officer's voice had lost its usual calm. We're detecting massive energy signatures. They're everywhere. The space around Earth rippled like water disturbed by falling stones. Massive ships began emerging from what appeared to be holes in reality itself. They didn't surge forward from hyperspace like Kralaxian vessels. They simply appeared, as if they had always been there, hidden behind veils of impossible technology. The first to emerge was the TES Prometheus, humanity's flagship. Nearly twice the size of the Dominion's fist, its hull seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it. It was followed by hundreds more vessels, each materializing from their quantum pocket dimensions where they had waited, hidden, for this moment. In her Pacific Command Center, General Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction as she watched the Kralaxian sensors trying, and failing, to make sense of Earth's true fleet. "Signal the Prometheus," she ordered. "Begin Phase 2. Admiral James Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, watching as the last of Earth's shadow fleet took position. 200 ships, each representing the pinnacle of human innovation and determination. Ships powered by zero-point energy, protected by quantum phase shields, armed with weapons that could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. "Open a channel to the Kralaxian flagship," he commanded. "Let's show them what they're really dealing with." On the bridge of the Dominion's fist, High Admiral Kilara watched in stunned silence as her tactical displays, filled with ships that couldn't exist. The transmission that came through was nothing like the primitive radio signals they'd been monitoring. A human appeared on her command screen, his uniform bearing no resemblance to the military garb they'd observed earlier. "High Admiral Kilara." Admiral Rodriguez spoke, his words automatically translated by systems far more sophisticated than the Kralaxian linguistics computers. "I am Admiral James Rodriguez of the Terran Defense Fleet. You've been deceived." Kilara's secondary eyes blinked rapidly as she tried to process what she was seeing. "Impossible," she hissed. "Your species is primitive. We've been watching." "You've been watching exactly what we wanted you to see," Rodriguez interrupted. "For over a century, we've hidden our true capabilities, preparing for this moment. The Earth you thought you knew was a carefully constructed illusion." As if to emphasize his point, the holographic camouflage protecting Earth's orbital infrastructure began to fade. Massive defense platforms, quantum relay stations, and dimensional anchor points became visible. The primitive satellites the Kralaxians had detected were revealed as sophisticated decoys, each broadcasting false signals to mask the real technology beneath. In orbit around Mars, massive shipyards shimmered into view. The red planet's poles, thought to be covered in frozen carbon dioxide, were revealed to be vast industrial complexes. Jupiter's moons, believed to be lifeless rocks, now showed signs of extensive human presence. "Your entire invasion fleet," Rodriguez continued, "has been under our guns since the moment you entered the solar system. We could have destroyed you at any time, but we wanted to understand your intentions first." Kilara's pride warred with her tactical training. Her ships were surrounded, outgunned, and facing technology she couldn't even begin to understand. "Why?" she finally asked. "Why the deception?" "Because we learned long ago that the galaxy is a dangerous place," Rodriguez replied. "We found one of your empire's probe ships in 1947. Instead of announcing ourselves then, we chose to prepare, to advance in secret, to be ready when the day came that someone would try to conquer us." The tactical displays on the Dominion's fist were now showing detailed scans of the human fleet. Each vessel carried enough firepower to level a small continent. Their shield technology appeared to operate on principles the Kralaxians had never even theorized, and there were hundreds of them. "You have a choice, High Admiral," Rodriguez said. "You can order your fleet to stand down and open diplomatic channels, or you can discover firsthand exactly how advanced our weapons really are. Choose carefully." In her underwater command center, General Chen watched the Kralaxian ship's power signatures fluctuate as their commanders debated their options. The deception had worked perfectly. Earth had revealed its strength from a position of absolute tactical advantage. Now they would see if the Kralaxians were wise enough to choose peace over annihilation. The counterstrike. High Admiral Kilara's pride ultimately overcame her judgment. The Kralaxian Empire does not surrender to primitive deception, she declared, her mouth tentacles writhing with anger. "All ships, battle formations, show these humans the true might of." She never finished the order. The Prometheus's primary weapon system activated, sending a precisely calculated quantum disruption wave through space. It passed harmlessly through the Kralaxian flagship's shields. Technology designed to stop energy and matter was useless against a weapon that temporarily rewrote the laws of physics within its target area. Every computer system on the Dominion's fist went dark. That Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through the emergency speakers that still functioned, was a warning shot. "Your shields and weapons are temporarily offline. They'll reset in approximately 10 minutes. Would you like to reconsider your position?" But the rest of the Kralaxian fleet had already opened fire, their plasma cannons and particle beams lancing out toward the human ships. They impacted against quantum phase shields that didn't so much absorb the attacks as caused them to never have happened in the first place. "All ships," Rodriguez commanded, his voice calm but carrying an edge of steel. "Execute Pattern Omega. Disable their fleet, but minimize casualties. We're here to end a war, not start a massacre." The Shadow Fleet moved with impossible precision. Ships phased in and out of normal space, appearing inside the Kralaxian formation. Their weapons were surgical. Quantum disruptors disabled engines, dimensional anchors prevented escape into hyperspace, and targeted electromagnetic pulses shut down weapon systems. In her command center, General Chen watched the battle unfold through quantum-entangled displays. Status report on civilian protection measures. "All planetary shield grids are active, General," her tactical officer reported. "The dimensional pocket spaces are ready to receive any population centers targeted by the enemy. Mars and Luna defense grids are fully operational." On the Prometheus, Admiral Rodriguez watched as the Kralaxian fleet's formation began to break apart. Their tactics were impressive by conventional standards, but they were fighting with rules and assumptions that humanity had moved beyond decades ago. A group of Kralaxian destroyers attempted to concentrate their fire on a single human vessel, the TES Hyperion. Their combined firepower would have been enough to destroy a small moon. The Hyperion's quantum shields didn't even flicker. Its counterattack came in the form of a gravity manipulation beam that caused the destroyer's shields to collapse under their own amplified weight. "Admiral," his tactical officer called out, "we're detecting power surges in the remaining Kralaxian capital ships. They appear to be preparing to overload their reactors." Rodriguez's expression hardened. Mass suicide was not an outcome we prepared for. "Deploy temporal stasis fields, now." Waves of chronometric energy rolled out from the human fleet, catching the Kralaxian ships in bubbles of stop time. Inside those bubbles, the reactor overload sequences froze, giving human engineering teams time to board and prevent the destructive chain reactions. On the Dominion's fist, High Admiral Kilara watched in helpless rage as her fleet was systematically disabled by technology that shouldn't exist. Her tactical officers had no countermeasures because the very principles behind human weapons were beyond their understanding. "High Admiral," her second-in-command spoke softly, "we've lost contact with 60% of the fleet. The remainder are reporting critical systems failures. We cannot win this battle." Before Kilara could respond, her ship shuddered, not from an attack, but from dozens of quantum teleportation events. Human Marines in powered armor that bent light around them materialized throughout the ship, their weapons already trained on vital systems, and command personnel. High Admiral Kilara. A calm voice spoke in perfect Kralaxian, belonging to a human female who had appeared directly on the bridge. I am Colonel Sarah Martinez of the Terran Special Operations Command. Your ship is now under our control. Please order your remaining forces to stand down. In orbit around Earth, the battle, if it could even be called that, was ending. Not a single human ship had been destroyed. Not a single Kralaxian ship had escaped. And most importantly, due to the precision of human weapons and tactics, Kralaxian casualties were minimal. All enemy vessels have been neutralized. General Chen's tactical officer reported. No civilian casualties. No significant damage to any human infrastructure. Operation Counterstrike is complete. Chen nodded, but her expression remained serious. Phase 3 preparations. The long-range fleets are ready, General. The moment we extract the necessary navigational data from the Kralaxian ships, we can begin our push toward their core systems. The battle for Earth was over, but humanity's revelation to the galaxy was just beginning. The question now was, how would the rest of the Kralaxian Empire respond when they learned that their invasion fleet had been defeated not by luck or superior numbers, but by technology that rendered their greatest weapons obsolete? The heart of the Empire. The Imperial Palace on Krelax Prime shook as another defense platform fell from orbit. Emperor Vexthor watched through reinforced windows as pieces of his once mighty orbital defense grid burned up in the atmosphere, creating artificial shooting stars across the purple sky. How? He demanded of his assembled advisors. How did they reach our homeworld so quickly? Where are our fleets? His chief military advisor, a veteran of countless victories, could barely speak. The humans, they don't use hyperspace lanes like we do. They appear wherever they wish. Our early warning systems are useless. Our fastest ships couldn't intercept them because they were already here. In high orbit, Admiral Rodriguez stood on the Prometheus's bridge, watching tactical displays track the systematic dismantling of the Kralaxian Empire's capital defenses. The operation had been precise, calculated, and overwhelming, just as planned. Status of the Dimensional Anchor Network, he asked. Fully deployed, Admiral. His tactical officer responded. No Kralaxian ship can enter or leave this system without our permission. Their quantum communication relays have been isolated. They're cut off from the rest of their empire. The humans had learned much from the captured invasion fleet. The Kralaxians' military strategy relied heavily on rapid response through established hyperspace lanes, like a medieval army depending on roads and bridges. But humanity's quantum tunneling technology ignored such limitations. They could strike anywhere, at any time. Deep within a bunker beneath the Imperial Palace, Emperor Vexthor received increasingly desperate reports. The humans weren't just defeating his forces, they were systematically isolating and containing them. Each Kralaxian world found itself cut off from the others, surrounded by human ships that appeared from nowhere. Your Majesty, his intelligence chief interrupted, you need to see this. We're receiving footage from our outer colonies. The display showed something unexpected. Human ships were appearing over Kralaxian worlds, but instead of attacking, they were helping. On agricultural worlds suffering from crop failures, human terraforming technology was rejuvenating dead soil. On planets with failing infrastructures, human engineering teams were deploying advanced repair systems. They're not just defeating us, the intelligence chief said quietly. They're showing our people a better way. On the Prometheus, Admiral Rodriguez received a priority communication from Earth. General Chen's hologram appeared in the command center. Phase 4 is ready, she reported. Our diplomatic teams are prepared to begin negotiations. How are they responding? Rodriguez gestured to the tactical display. Their military resistance is crumbling, but more importantly, their civilian population is increasingly receptive. The aid missions are having the desired effect. This had been part of the plan from the beginning. Humanity hadn't spent a century preparing just to fight. They had prepared to win the peace that would follow. Every human ship carried not just weapons, but the means to help, to rebuild, to improve. In cities across Krelax Prime, the population watched in awe as human ships performed feats their own technology couldn't match. Damaged buildings were restored in minutes by nanite swarms. Polluted waters were purified by quantum filtration systems. Disease outbreaks were contained and cured by medical technology centuries ahead of their own. Emperor Vexthor's palace communication system activated without warning. A human face appeared on every screen. Admiral Rodriguez. Emperor Vexthor. Rodriguez spoke, his tone firm but not unkind. Your military options are exhausted. Your worlds are isolated. But we're not here to destroy your empire. We're here to offer you a choice. The Emperor's advisors waited tensely as Rodriguez continued. You can resist until your empire crumbles completely, or you can help us build something better. Your people have already seen what we can offer. Technology to feed the hungry. Medicine to heal the sick. Clean energy to power your worlds. The strength of humanity isn't just in our weapons. It's in our desire to help others grow. In orbit, General Chen's diplomatic fleet emerged from quantum space. Each ship carried representatives from Earth's nations, along with teams of scientists, engineers, and humanitarian experts. The galaxy doesn't need another war, Rodriguez continued. It needs cooperation, partnership, progress. Your empire has stood for conquest. We're offering you the chance to stand for something more. Emperor Vexthor looked out at his burning orbital defenses, then at the displays showing human ships helping his people. For the first time in his life, he faced a force that had utterly exceeded his comprehension, and yet was offering peace instead of demanding surrender. The future of the Krelaxian Empire hung in the balance. But more than that, the future of galactic civilization was about to change forever. A new dawn. 1 year after the Krelaxian conflict, the Grand Hall of the newly established Galactic Cooperative hummed with activity. Representatives from 100 spacefaring civilizations gathered in the massive structure which floated in neutral space at the intersection of major trade routes. Its quantum-anchored halls, built with human technology but incorporating architectural elements from all member species, symbolized the new era of galactic civilization. High Admiral Kilara, now serving as the Krelaxian representative to the cooperative, stood beside General Chen as they watched Emperor Vexthor sign the final accords. The former enemies had become unlikely partners in reshaping galactic society. I still remember when I thought your people were primitive, Kilara said, her mouth tentacles moving in what humans now recognized as a gesture of amusement. How differently things might have gone if we'd simply opened with diplomatic contact. Chen smiled. The secrecy served its purpose, but we're glad it's over. Humanity was ready to join the galactic community. We just needed to ensure we could do so on equal terms. Throughout the hall, the results of this new partnership were evident. Krelaxian scientists worked alongside human researchers, combining their species' millennia of spacefaring experience with humanity's revolutionary technological innovations. Other alien civilizations, drawn by news of Earth's emergence and the transformation of the Krelaxian Empire, had quickly sought diplomatic relations. Admiral Rodriguez, watching from the Prometheus in orbit, received a priority communication from Earth's Unified Defense Command. Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting unusual activity in the Andromeda Galaxy. It appears our quantum observation capabilities have identified something concerning. Rodriguez's expression remained calm, but his eyes narrowed. The threat we detected all those years ago, the one that prompted our accelerated technological development. Yes, sir. Our original predictions were correct. We have approximately 50 years before they arrive. On the observation deck of the Galactic Cooperative headquarters, General Chen's quantum communicator chimed softly. She read the message, then turned to Kilara. Remember how you asked why we developed our technology in secret? Why we prepared so thoroughly? Chen's voice was quiet but intense. We had a reason beyond just protecting ourselves from potential invaders like the Krelaxian Empire. She shared the quantum sensor data. Kilara's three eyes widened as she processed the information. This is from another galaxy. But the energy readings, the scale of it. Yes, Chen nodded. We detected them nearly a century ago. A civilization so advanced and so aggressive that they've consumed their entire galaxy, and now they're looking toward ours. Kilara's military training kicked in as she analyzed the data. These readings, they make our empire's technology look primitive. Even humanity's advances might not be enough on their own. Chen finished. That's why we revealed ourselves now. That's why we chose to help transform the Galaxian Empire rather than destroy it. That's why we're pushing so hard for galactic cooperation and technological exchange. Understanding dawned in Kilara's eyes. You need allies, not subjects or conquered peoples, but true allies. We have 50 years to prepare, Chen confirmed. 50 years to unite the galaxy, to combine our knowledge and strengths. Humanity's quantum technology, Galaxian strategic experience, the biological adaptations of the Zorax, the energy manipulation capabilities of the Nyx Collective. We need it all. In the grand hall below, the signing ceremony concluded. Emperor Vexthor's voice rang out, addressing the assembled representatives. Today marks not just peace, not just cooperation, but the beginning of our future as a united galaxy. The assembled beings cheered, not knowing that their unity would soon be tested in ways they couldn't imagine. But humanity knew. They had spent a century preparing for one threat, only to discover a greater one approaching. This time, though, they wouldn't face it alone. On the Prometheus, Admiral Rodriguez opened a secure channel to the Joint Military Command. Begin Phase 6, he ordered. Operation Guardian Shield is now active. Across the Milky Way, hidden quantum sensors maintained their vigilant watch on the approaching threat. In secret research facilities, human and alien scientists worked together on technologies that would define the future of warfare. In shipyards throughout the galaxy, new vessels were being designed, incorporating the strengths of a dozen civilizations. The galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had emerged from hiding, transformed an empire, and helped forge a cooperative of species. But their greatest challenge, and their true purpose, still lay ahead. As night fell on the Galactic Cooperative headquarters, General Chen and High Admiral Kilara stood together, watching the distant stars. Somewhere out there, an unstoppable force was approaching. But this time, they would find not a scattered collection of civilizations, but a united galaxy ready to fight for its survival. The game of deception was over. The age of preparation had begun.